welcome back to the Man Art Gallery's virtual programming this week. My name is Tia Furstenberg, I'm the registrar here, and I'm also your host for the Secrets of the Vault series, where I share one of the artists that we have in our permanent collection and show you a few of their works. Today, I'm really excited to bring you the 6th video. If you haven't seen the other 5, they are on the Man Art Gallery's Facebook page and YouTube channel, so I recommend you go check those out if you haven't already. There's also some other wonderful virtual programming by our acting director curator, Lana Wilson, and our acting educator, Danny Castle. So I'm sure you'd love those as well. Today, however, I'm really excited to bring you a few pieces by this artist behind me. We have 64 of her pieces in our permanent collection that have been donated and purchased over the years, and I'm really excited to share 3 of them today with you. She's originally from Bolognese, Switzerland. She was born there in 1920, and then her and her husband immigrated to Saskatchewan in 1963. So I'm really excited to talk a bit about Andre Fili Martensen. So let's get to some art. So this is the first piece I'm going to talk about. It is Untitled White and Yellow Flowers in Dark Chug, oil paint on canvas, and is not dated. So in picking the artworks to show you today, I thought it would be important to kind of touch on the different areas and subject matter that Andre depicted and pursued throughout her artistic career. She really developed her style and her voice upon coming to Saskatchewan and, trying to figure out who she was in this foreign country with this big open landscape that she wasn't accustomed to. So she really tried to make sense of that and grow accustomed to her new surroundings, her new home. And so she did that by looking for the beauty in everything, and most of those findings were around her. So a lot of her pieces are still lifes or the everyday life, and she would have set these up either in her own home or in her studio space, picking things that she really felt connected to and that would communicate to her as well as she was painting them. So this is a great example of one of those motifs that she returned to again and again. The vase with the flowers. I love the quietness of this piece, the stillness and calm that the viewer gets from taking the time to look at the flowers and see the contrast between colors, that bright yellow and orange against the muted browns and grays, and also the play with perspective and space. This is obviously painted with the view from above, so you get that different perspective. And then also the vase is almost a part of the table, and you wouldn't know it was a vase without maybe those outlines of the oil pastel. So that really integration between positive and negative space and getting the viewer to think a little more about what they're seeing. So this is the second piece I'm going to talk about. It is Untitled Self-Portrait Number 2, Oil, Paint, and Pastel on Mat Board. So this is a wonderful example of the figurative works that we have of Andre's in the permanent collection. She painted mostly in oil paint and oil pastel, and a large portion of her figurative works are in a similar fashion or composition. So the subject takes up most of the pictorial space and not much attention is paid to the background. It's really all about that positive space, the shapes and the colors in the figure's face and in their clothing. She plays a lot with color And I really enjoy in this piece specifically the white that she uses of the mat board into, say, the hair, the eyes, and most obviously the coat or the shirt that she's wearing. And she also switches back and forth between the oil, pastel, and paint, and gives and takes. So she will scratch away at certain areas with the oil pastel and then add on to it with the oil paint, and it really creates a lovely sense of depth and layering of color. And lastly, we have this piece. It's entitled Horizon. It's oil paint on canvas board, and I forgot to tell you, just like the previous artwork, this one also doesn't have a date. I think that it's fitting that we do take a look at one of Andre's landscapes. We don't have too many of these, but the ones we do are really fantastic and wonderful. Landscapes were really a challenge for Andre. She, especially the Saskatchewan landscape, it was so unfamiliar and unlike anything that she had seen that it posed a real challenge for her. And so a lot of her style and way of approaching subjects and life around her was shaped by painting the prairie landscape. And so she had to focus a lot more on formal elements and color. Her colors really started to mute more as she painted, and this is evident in her, I guess you could say, more domestic pieces like the still life I showed you earlier. And her mark making and brush strokes really started to loosen up. She paid a little less attention to detail and more to the shape and the form of what she was looking at, and it never lost its intentionality. So she was always still very confident in her lines and her mark making. But Andre really used painting as a reflection of her life and how she encountered it and saw it. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me as I shared a bit about Andre Fili Martinson. She's one of my favorite artists in the collection, and so I'm really happy to show you some of her work today. If you had a favorite piece, I would love to hear. Comment below, or if you had any other questions or comments, I'd be happy to respond to those as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you again next Thursday, same time.